Right, Thursday, the 26th of December, aka Boxing Day, Enzo Maresca's Chelsea take to Stamford Bridge for the final time in 2024 when we take on Marco Silva's Fulham. And I actually believe that this match is going to be a really, really tough test. I think that Fulham are a massively underrated side this season, and they have proved very hard to beat this season. And actually, we ourselves are looking to get back to winning ways. It was 8 wins in a row for Enzo Maresca's side, and then we took the dreaded trip to Goodison Park and fell short in our quest to make it 9 when we were held to a 0-0 draw by the Toffees. I did tell you guys that I was going to get a post-match review out for you, but as the time went on, it just got way too close to the time that I was flying back from Saudi. I am now back. I thought I'd just sort of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, if I'm being completely honest with you. We can speak a little bit about the Everton match, although there wasn't all that much to speak about, as well as previewing Boxing Day's fixture against Fulham, where I, as always, will be giving my starting 11 picks. I will be speaking a little bit about Fulham and their run of form so far this season, and like always, I will give a score prediction for this one. But people, before we get into all that, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you guys are new around here, please hit the subscribe button, smash the like button right now, and as a Christmas present for me, if you're already watching the channel, you're liking the videos, and you're not subscribed, which 25% or even more, I believe it is now, of my regular viewers are, please, as a Christmas present, subscribe to the channel for me. It really does help the channel grow, and it helps me have a lot more time to bang out these sort of videos for you. Let's get into this one. So I said I'd touch on the Everton game, and touch on it I will. It was obviously a disappointing result, a really disappointing result for us, especially when you look at the run of form that we've been on and the fact that we could have gone top of the table, and maybe that could have changed things. It could have piled more pressure upon Liverpool, and therefore maybe they could have slipped up against Spurs. But looking at the way that game went, I don't think they would have done. I think Liverpool would have smashed Spurs either way and very much given them a spanking, which means we would have remained in second, where we are right now anyway. So I think that the wind and the weather definitely hampered us, more so than it did Everton. Some would say it was windy for both sides, but what I would counter that with is it is a little bit more windy up north, so they're more acclimatised to playing in those sort of conditions. So I think that definitely went in our favour. And not only that, we should have had a penalty, shouldn't we? Anyone else agree with me? I thought it live when I was watching the game, obviously on about the Jordan Pickford challenge. I thought it live watching the game, and I also thought it watching it back. We should have had a penalty. On another day, Nicholas Jackson could have had a couple of goals. I mean, the one he headed against the post from point-blank range, you don't want to be overly critical, but again, it's one that you'd expect him on this season's form, I would say, to finish, but sometimes they go against you, and again, I'm actually not just blaming it, the wind in that circumstance, it makes it harder. No one can tell me it doesn't make it harder when people can't even get the ball to stay still for a free kick. So to head a Sank on target, close range or not, I don't know. None of the front line really lived up to expectation in that match, but at the same time, you can't be too harsh on them, mate. We went away and we came away with 1 point, which is 1 point more than we came away from Goodison Park with last season. And let's remember last season when we went there and lost 2-0, it wasn't at the start of the season, it was towards the back end of the season, really. Maybe was it a similar sort of time? No, it's towards the back end of the season, I think it was. And that was when we had found our feet and started to hit some sort of form. So it can happen. It can happen. And I think that we've got to credit the point that we took away from that game. Or credit the man who helped us take away that point in being Robert Sanchez. I thought another good display from him, an impressive display, a clean sheet, and a couple of really good saves from Robert Sanchez in that match, which, let's be honest, considering in hindsight we only took away a point, were saves that sort of kept us in that game. So I'm happy enough with it. Little bit disappointed on the day, but at the same time, if we go on to win our next 2 or 3 games, and we've got winnable ones in there, and then we look back on this God knows however many games, what would we call it, 15 odd games? When was the last time we were beat? Liverpool. So if we look back on that period of games since we were beat against Liverpool and said, right, we had X amount of wins, I don't know off the top of my head how many, but call it 13 wins or something like that, and a draw in there, then you're not going to really care, are you? Are you really going to care about a draw away at Everton? I don't think you will. But the main thing is we've got to get back to winning ways now against Fulham. And Fulham are ninth at the moment, but they're only a couple of wins off of being in and around that top 4. They're one win off moving a few spaces up, pretty much. When you look, they got wins over Newcastle, Brighton, Nottingham Forest so far this season. They haven't really suffered many losses. They got less losses than most teams, to be honest. They got less losses than Spurs, Man City, definitely the Man United. They got less losses than Newcastle, Villa, I think Brighton. So, and also, like, I think their main thing is they've been drawing too many games. They've drawn a lot of games, and you'll probably look at some of their draws and go, well, to not beat newly promoted Ipswich or newly promoted Southampton are obviously disappointing draws, but I would say it's more of a mixed bag, if I'm being completely honest with you, because I remember they drew to Spurs, and that was a game where they were down to 10 men. They drew to Arsenal, didn't they? They drew to Liverpool recently. So they'll definitely be confident that they can come to Stamford Bridge and at least come away with a draw, Fulham. And we've really got to be cautious of that. And do you know what the other thing as well is? When you look at it, for the first time during Enzo Maresca's tenure now, the injury list is really stacking up. But just quickly, do you like looking like you've just crawled out of a cave? Well, if the answer to that is no, then maybe you should be using the Performance Package 5.0 by Manscaped. And all you need to do is head over to the link in the description and join 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code JoeyKnight for 20% off and free shipping. So as you know, I am a careful man, but sometimes I have been prone to a few cuts. But since the Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 came into my life, that is a thing of the past. But what does it include? Well, let's start off with the Lawnmower 5.0, the start of your holiday grooming lineup. The Lawnmower 5.0 delivers precise, smooth trimming every time. And not only do you get that, you get the Weed Whacker 2.0, the ear and nose hair trimmer. Because the last thing anyone needs during the festive period is an unexpected ear or nose hair making a surprise appearance at the dinner table. So the Weed Whacker 2.0 is here to handle those details like a pro, making sure that you stay neat and polished for every holiday event. And it's not just that, they also give you the ball aftercare. Because after a close shave, we all want to give our precious ornaments some much needed TLC. Now this will keep you fresh and comfortable and ready to slay all day. Not only do you get that, there are also some free gifts included. You get the Boxers 2.0 Midnight Bravo and the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag. So get this offer on me with 20% off and free shipping by using the code JoeyKnight at checkout. So please help supporting the channel by supporting the guys who support me in Manscaped. They are linked in the description. Head over there. Let's get back into the video. Now, going off the back of the seasons that we've had for the last 3, 4... it seems like about 5 seasons, to be honest. I'm not going to call this an injury crisis, but it's definitely an injury pile-up, isn't it? Without the likes of Lavia still, Reece James, Fofana, and really without knowing how long until any of them come back. I think that the one that we could say might even be back the quickest, ironically, is Reece James. He's back on grass, apparently. But again, do we want to rush him? I don't really know. I really don't know. Then you got to look at the fact we're also still without the likes of Benoit Badiashile, Kane Chukwuemeka, whether he'll play or not. Again, whether he'll play or not, we're without the likes of Mykhailo Mudryk, and we don't even know whether he'll play again for Chelsea now. So there is uncertainty there, and it does make Enzo Maresca's job a little bit harder, than it had been. We haven't got the same sort of bench. I was looking at the bench against Everton, and I was looking at it thinking, right, who can we bring on that will make an impact? And I'm definitely not saying we don't have players that can come on and make an impact, but we've not got the depth there on the bench that we did have this season. And do you know, looking at especially the central midfield depth this season, and the fact that Kane Chukwuemeka hasn't really been used and hasn't really been tried out much in that position. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, he's got a few minutes off the bench in the league, but pretty much all of his minutes have been limited to the cup. I'm looking at Andre Santos right now, and I'm thinking if there's any way we can bring him back off loan in January, I would definitely do it. What would you lot say? Andre Santos back off loan? I mean, Ugo Chukwu might be a more sensible option, and you might look at this and think, hold on, that's a crazy take. The reason being is I always rated Iwachukwu performances for Chelsea. I didn't think they were, to be honest, when he was here, any worse than Andre Santos's. I thought they were of a similar level. Obviously, this season, Iwachukwu has played for a really struggling Southampton side, and he hasn't got all that many minutes for them. Southampton fans will tell you that when he has had minutes for them, he's looked quite good, I think. There's any Southampton fans watching, they can correct me in the comments, but I think most of them that I've spoke to have said he looks quite good when he's played, but he hasn't played all that much. However, Andre Santos has been absolutely tearing it up on loan. He has looked the bollocks, hasn't he? So if we could bring him back, I definitely would. But woulda, coulda, shouldas, it doesn't matter. Let's get into the team sheet. And right now, you can see it on screen. Robert Sanchez in goal. Malo Gusto, I would have it right back in this game. However, I would not be adverse to Joshua Changpong being there because I do think that in this game, the inverter will be the left back, and we'll move on to him. But firstly, Tosin Adarabioyo paired with Levi Colwell in that back line, and the big dog. He is back in the fold, and that is Mark Cucurella. Had he have played against Everton, we probably would have won that game, and I'm not even joking. Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez picking himself at the minute, as is Cole Palmer. Don't care whether he was a little bit quiet against Everton. You start your best player, and our best player, especially creatively, is definitely Cole Palmer. And then I will go Pedro Neto, Jadon Sancho with Nicholas Jackson up top. So as you can see, no major changes in that team sheet. And again, I really don't think we need to, if I'm being completely honest. Like, we didn't look great in attack against Everton, but at the same time, they sat back, they came to defend. It's Goodison Park. Lesser teams and better teams, even if we're going on last season's finishes, have gone there and struggled, and I don't think it's any reason to tear up the team sheet in this one. I see a lot of guys suggesting, and a lot of media outlets suggesting, that Madueke will start this match. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, definitely wouldn't be surprised, but at the same time, I think you need Pedro Neto in there. I really do think you do. I think if you're going to start Jadon Sancho... Listen, Jadon Sancho could drop out in this one, but I think he's looked impressive every single time he's played. And I do think that against Everton, he had a good game. I think attempted take-ons, he was the most on the pitch. I think some of the underlying numbers for Jadon Sancho were good in that game. I thought he did about as much as he could do. And obviously, Neto probably struggled a little bit more out on that side. But again, I still, despite the performances of Madueke and Jadon Sancho, I still rate Pedro Neto as the best winger at the football club. And I don't really think that... Listen, I'm not going to say we can't win matches starting Madueke and Jadon Sancho, but if you're going to start a Madueke or a Sancho, I kind of believe it is that word, or, rather than with, because they're very different players, but in a nutshell, to simplify things, they kind of do the same thing, don't they? They kind of do. They want the ball to feet. They want to dribble at defenders, run at defenders. Jadon Sancho maybe being a little bit more of an assister, looking for the overlap and to cut inside, whereas Madueke will want to work it onto his left foot and take a shot. But at the same time, they do a similar thing. And then if you're looking at a team like Fulham, who obviously are, you would imagine, going to push up the pitch a little bit more than Everton did, be a little bit more creative, show a little bit more attacking flair, then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I want pace in behind, and that is what Pedro Neto can offer you. He's going to come up against Robinson, and I think he's one of the most underrated fullbacks in the Premier League, to be honest. I think he's brilliant. Is underrated even the right term? I think everyone rates him. So he's a really good player. And maybe if he does, you might look at it and you might think, well, he might not get done for pacing behind, and he might not be positionally unaware, and maybe you need someone with tricks up his sleeve like a Madueke. So if Madueke was to start the match, then I would probably, despite the impressive performances, still want to see Pedro Neto on over on that left-hand side. But yeah, I think either way, Cucurella being involved is a massive plus for us. And if he plays anything like he has been playing recently, he'll probably end up pushing right up the pitch and playing as another number 10. So that could be something that we see here. I think this one's going to be a tight game. I think it is. And more often than not, I've predicted, maybe not necessarily the outcomes of the games, but like when I've said games are going to be tight, they've ended up being tight. And when I've said they're going to be high scoring games, potentially like Chelsea against Spurs, where I was saying 4-2, they have been high scoring games. And I feel like this one will be tighter. My gut instinct told me Fury was going to win that fight. So it can be wrong, but my gut instinct tells me that we could go behind in this match. And the media will be sharpening the knives, getting ready. It's all falling apart. And then I think our character, our progression is going to be on show, and just our talent that's on show every match. And I think we'll come back and win this match. I'm predicting a 3-2 scoreline, but that's just what my gut's telling me. I very much hope I get it completely wrong and we end up smashing Fulham 5-0 and sending them back to, well, same place they came from, really, West London, isn't it? Sending them back to down the Fulham Road, all the way to Craven Cottage, crying their eyes out. Don't know. What do you guys think? I do think it'll be a tough test. I really do. Listen, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will obviously be in touch with you guys after the game. It might not be out on Boxing Day. It might have to be the morning of the day after, because I've got a lot of family stuff on over Christmas, and I have been working my bollocks off this year on the channel. I've got Christmas Day again on Boxing Day, basically. Because we don't do it on Christmas Day because we've got people working in hospitality and stuff like that, which means I'd sort of do my Christmas Day on Boxing Day, but I need to be with my family. I spent a lot of time, well, not a lot of time, but spent time out in Saudi Arabia. Obviously so grateful to have the opportunity to do stuff like that. That was so cool. And like, I haven't really touched base on this on the boxing channel, because the boxing audience, they're sort of there, but they're only really there for the big videos, whereas you lot are the hardcore. So I've kind of saved it for you lot. But Saudi was the coolest experience ever, man. Like, I've grown up a massive boxing fan my whole life, and to meet the likes of David Haye, Lennox Lewis, and all of the fighters that I met, Joseph Parker, Daniel Dubois, so surreal to meet them. But to meet them in the way that I met them was ridiculous, because it's not like, oh, Dubois over there, let's go get a picture. It's actually being around these lot, spending time with them. We spent loads of time with Lennox Lewis over there, you know, sitting down and having deep conversations with David A for an hour or so, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's surreal. It's mad. And do you know what the maddest thing ever is now? Like, I've kind of got used to, and I hope that no one takes this as me being egotistical or like it's going to my head or anything. I really don't want it to come across in that way, but I've got used now to people that I don't know knowing me. Like, it's not random for me anymore. People have stopped me all the time and whatever, and YouTube's a big thing. Mate, if you've got, on average, I don't know, 1 million views on YouTube a month or whatever it is, then people are going to know you. So people have stopped me and speak to me, and it's always lovely. Like, no, I'd never get no bad interactions. Everyone's always really, really positive, and I love it. Like, a lot of them are you guys watching. So many of you have seen me in person, stopped me and stuff, and you'll know that I always have a chat with you and whatever, because I love you guys dearly. But the most surreal thing now, and it's sort of off the back of the Saudi trips and the work I've been doing in boxing, is like, now I'm having celebrities know who I am. I'm having David A and all these people and whatnot. Daniel Dubois, like, funny story. Brian went to interview Daniel Dubois, and one of the first things Dubois said to him was, he went, "Where's Joey? Is Joey here?" and whatever. And it's like, mate, the heavyweight world champion knows who I am. Like, it's mad, isn't it? And the reason I'm telling this story is because all of it, maybe it's because I'm feeling a bit festive and whatnot, but all of it is off the back of you lot. Like, I got into boxing through doing well in football, and then meeting up with Brian through football, and then we realised that we both love boxing. I already knew that he loved boxing, but he realised that I love boxing. Then all the Misfit stuff's happened, the Saudi works happened, the shows flying out there and whatnot, and it's just mental. It's absolutely mental that I'm getting the opportunity to do these things. And if you scale it back all the way to the start, it all started less than 2 years ago when I decided to start this YouTube channel. And there's some of you guys watching this right now, and it is you lot that have made it to the end of the video, the hardcore that watch the whole thing, that I've been here since 5,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers. I wish I could show you lot how much my life has changed in that amount of time, because it's mental. It's mental how much my life has changed since you guys started watching me. And it's all because of you. Because if you guys weren't watching me, and if you guys weren't supporting me, I want to say, then none of these opportunities would be on my lap, would they? They wouldn't be getting offered to me. So I'm so thankful. I think Christmas is a time of year when you're massively thankful for things anyway, but very, very, very thankful for what you guys have done for not only me, by the way, my family. It's changed everyone's life having this sort of success in the YouTube world, in the media world, and whatever. So I don't want to bang on, about it too long, but just so grateful, man. I really, really am. So that's why I always try and give you guys, when I see you, a lot of time. And if ever you do see me, I can't get my words out now. I'm about to start crying. No, I'm joking. If ever you do see me, come over and have a chat, because I really appreciate it. Right, people, I will see you all in the next one. But most importantly, a very happy Christmas to all of you. I love you all. I'll see you all in the next one.